So I started a video game studio in 2026, which might be the worst possible time to do it. So why now? Hey friendos, it's DW. It's been a while. I did start a video game studio in technically end of 2025, 2026, and I wanted to make a series of devlogs about this journey. Why did I start Coco Boko Studios? Really, I decided to start the studio now because if I didn't start it, I would never actually start it. I have been talking about making a commercial video game in a video game studio for literally almost 20 years, which is that's terrifying to think of. My personality type is very much, I would call it even risk adverse. I'm always looking for the perfect time with the least amount of risk. Time continues to press on as I wait. Real life keeps happening. I have a full-time job. I still have my full-time job, even though I've started the studio. I have kids. I have responsibilities with those kids. I have a house and a mortgage and a real life to maintain. I have family. I have all of that fun stuff that goes with all of that. Adulting brings you more responsibility in general as you go forward. So if I keep waiting for just the right time, like when is that going to be? The important thing is I have to take my shot. You know, just like Alexander Hamilton, right? Shout out to those people watching the Broadway stuff. The point is, I have the time to do it now. I found a way to find the capacity now. I have goals that I want to achieve now. So you know what the right time is? It's now. And just making this video and saying it out loud is me proving that to myself. I want to share that into the world thing, internet, whatever. But saying it out loud, I've been avoiding even making this video for the last 2 months. Seriously. And so, yeah, now we're going to do it. So why now? The challenge of now, right? I said this might not be the best time. If you have been following the news in general, the state of the world is by far in a weird state overall. However, let's narrow that nightmare down to just the current industry that I'm trying to enter, which is video games. There are excessive amounts of layoffs. Hardware costs are literally through the roof. RAM is broken as a thing that we can buy as human beings that are not ultra rich. That being said, one of the things I look at when I'm looking at my day job and just my career overall is that with chaos comes change, and from change comes opportunity. There's opportunity when things are changing to try something new. People are willing to do more stuff, and there's definitely more in-depth challenges. I've done my research. I've already done a lot of branching out, trying to figure some stuff out, how to make my path work. It's not a traditional path, but that's not why I started the studio. The studio needs to happen now because, like I said earlier, now is the time that I have to do it. So I don't start it now, regardless of conditions, it's not going to get started. So the first thing I did was started at the end of 2024, and I started doing some side hustles. I knew I needed capital to do this. And my kids are old enough to be a little bit more autonomous, so I could do some side hustles in the evening without sacrificing my time with them, because they're young enough that they still want to hang out with me enough. And so I'm enjoying all of that time while I can. And that's my number one priority, to be very clear. While I'm doing that, later in the evening on my phone, whatever, I'm thinking about the tenets of what I want to produce for this game. It has to be something I want to make, because this is going to consume a lot of my B time, and I have to want to make it. It has to bring me some level of joy. 2, it has to be something I can make. That's not going to take me 5 years to implement, even with my limited time and resources. And 3, it needs to be a viable product. Okay, it has to be something that I think could sell. So, started with my dream game, something I wanted to make. Everyone has a dream game that I can't make. I've tried to make it numerous times. It's too hard, it's too much. There's a lot there. With that idea, I started to boil it down to the basics. What parts of it did I want to make? And so I figured that one out, came up with this is the one distilled idea I want to make. And I started with a GDD and prototyped it, and it was can I build this thing? And turns out I think I could. That's where I was at. I'm I think this is an actual game idea I can produce that I wanted to make. So I've got 2 down. Third thing is competitive analysis. And I did that, and I actually whittled it down, created a spreadsheet, and figured out this is a viable game idea for the budget I'm looking at. And so from there, I had my 3 ideas. I had my roughed-in prototype. I had a GDD. And now I have everything I need to validate, like, this is the business plan. This is the thing I'm going to make. And so I incorporated. Why incorporate at all? You don't need to. Steam doesn't need you to. No one really needs you to do this. I didn't incorporate for a very long time, even though I had the company name registered. The reason I did it was really for 2 reasons. One, in all of the education that I did, when you are trying to expand a video game business, if you are a corporation, they're more willing to deal with you. Whether that's the government for grants or other partners in corporate and other businesses. Like, they want you to have a legal entity that they can do business with and funnel the resources into the entity, not into you personally. 2, for me, it was a mentality shift. I have had the name registered for a very long time, and the idea was like, I'm going to build this on the side, but I did that for years. What I ended up doing was nothing with it, right? It was really a hobby. It wasn't a real business. It was just something that cost me money every year, but no plan on getting it back. With some maturity and education, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things. And you can look at my old YouTube videos to see me kind of struggle with that. The reality is what I am is I want to be a game developer, but I also want to be a studio owner. And they're 2 different kind of hats. There's a creative hat and there's the business person hat. The business person is the one that is providing pressure to get the studio moving. And by having a legal entity, I know what my costs are. I get all those extra bonuses I said about dealing with people and actually trying to get other money in. But it also forced a mentality shift on my part to be like, how is this a sustainable business that I would want to invest in? That was a big shift for me. Up until I got the incorporation, I had these dreams about the things I was going to spend the money on. That's actually not the idea. The idea is like, what's my burn rate and what kind of a capital do I have in it, along with when am I going to start bringing in revenue? How much runway do I have before I run out of money? That's what the legal entity kind of brought to me. I think for me, it's the baseline. Like, that's what I need for myself. Not saying you need it, but I'm saying that I needed it. It's really about balancing the company's raison d'etre. So what is Coco Boco Studios exactly? It's my video game corporation. It's named after an inside joke my oldest daughter and I had when she was like 2. The goal of it is to be a sustainable, balanced business in the video game industry in 2026 for myself and any partners that join me along the way. Sustainable, balanced business. Not just revenue balanced, but like work-life balance as well. You know, when I say it out loud, it sounds kind of ridiculous reading the news and listening to podcasts and understanding what the industry is like right now. But that's the goal that I have for this thing, because it's the only option I have. If I can't create a sustainable, balanced business, I can't be a part of this thing, and that dream is over for me. And it would suck, but I think it's doable. Like, this isn't just a hobby project for me. I explained all that in the incorporation section. But it's meant to bring in revenue. It's meant to be a real thing that moves forward. I can only do it this way. So I can either wait for the right moment, like I talked about previously, or I can just try to do it the way that I can. In terms of the games, like, the games will be small. I mean, at least the start. I don't have a track record of commercialized games. I don't have a history in commercialized games. I just have a long history in enterprise software and solution architecture and strategy. There's only so much that someone's going to look at going like, why is that guy a game dev? So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with small games. And like I said, have my prototype, have my reason to do this. The games I plan on making might be pretty small to start. However, the goal is to build on each one of those games over time, right? Build them up. I want to create games I wish existed that have a viable place in the market. Remember, competitive analysis, very important. Assuming I can build a game plan or a business plan around those ideas that I have in my head, and I'm not short on those ideas, I have a whole dumpster fire full of them, I can keep doing this for the next 20 years. And that's kind of what I'm dreaming about for the last 20 years. So I want to see where I can take this for the next 20 years and keep building this thing up. And we'll see if it works. So now I have a video game studio, and now all I need is to have a game that people can play and buy. Hopefully they buy it. Yeah.